You just have to deal with that. Okay. You can swear.
No, we're live. You can swear. Everybody's here. What's going on, everyone? We're back for another episode of Adventures in Business Live. Mandy, how are we doing today?
Amani, we're great. So I just want to give full disclosure. Amani was sharing with our guest who's in the green room that he tells me not to swear, but we are allowed to swear. So cuss words are okay.
Yes.
Even though it makes Amani blush, but Amani, that's our job. That's my job. And that's what we do.
So we've got some big news. Tell us the big news. We're back at home studio there.
I'm back in the home studio. I'm at the home house after 7 months of living not in my home. We moved back in this weekend. The renovation is done. That is why I look like I'm in a jail cell, because I can't quite find the artwork, but it's here in these boxes. But we're back. So thank you for everybody that casted votes, that participated in the naming of different things, and tolerated all the strange little remote backgrounds that I've had since April, May, June. Thank you.
Because it's been 8 months now, right?
I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah, been a long time. Okay,
but we're back. There. Yeah, but we're back.
Got a couple people in the chat. Betsy Baker, hello. We have Desi Whitney, hello. HBN is definitely in the house, so hello to you. Why don't we just get right to it and talk about our guest today, Mandy?
All right, let's do it. Well, today we have an amazing guest. So I've known this, I'm going to tell a story later, but I've known this man for about 23, almost 24 years. He's the CEO and the chairman of Hospitality Performance Network Global. He's a dad to kids and dogs. He's a husband. He's a friend. He's a world traveler. He's a funny freaking human, and he's a great soul. Bill Kilburg. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Round of applause. We'll give you a round of applause there.
All right. Am I in?
You're in.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to the show. We're happy to see you here. Stacy Crivello, hello. Oh, we got so many people joining us live. We love it. Make sure if you're joining us live and you have questions, put them in the chat. Carola Molin, I don't know how to say your last name. Carola Molinares Riche, hello. Bill Fassbender, Ken Newman, Jeremy Shaw Wright, Megan De Barrio, Sheila, I think that's how I say your name, Fuller. Hope I said that right. Welcome in. Bill, welcome to the show. I got to start off with a question.
Okay.
Now, I have a two-part question. I'm going to turn over to Mandy here. I understand through my research that a 1972 Ford Bronco is one of your favorite cars. Why is that the case?
Because it's in my driveway. I bought it, probably in 2010, and I've had it ever since. And I just recently redid it. It's sort of a copper colored, and I just repainted it and redid the seats and everything. It's now a satin navy with white trim everywhere. Okay. And every time I get behind the wheel of that, I mean, I get 10 people while I'm out driving around, like, thumbs up or cool car.
Yeah,
it's just fun. I mean, it's
okay. Now, if I recall correctly, based on my research, I think we both started our hospitality careers as bellmen.
Yep.
Now, if you were at the Scottsdale Plaza Resort, is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay.
1979 to 1985, I was carrying luggage.
I love it. What was your first day like as a bellman? Tell us about your first day as a bellman.
My first day as a bellman. Well, it was in the summer and it was hot and we were moving bags. So back in the day, this was in 79, summer 79. And our GM was like a real old school guy. So we had to wear like, full, I mean, it was like a formal kind of uniform thing. But we had these French and German tours that would come through and we'd have to move the luggage from the bus to their rooms in 118-degree heat and get it all done within like 45 minutes. And it was just brutal. But we thought the money was great because the gratuity was like $2 a room. So it was like, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, it's 1979, right?
Yeah, so that's a lot then, yeah.
Yeah. But I love that job. I mean, it taught me a lot about sales because if I went in a great mood talking to people, I walked out with $100. And if I went in a lousy mood, I walked out with $20. So.
Big difference. Mandy, over to you. Where should we go from here?
Well, this isn't a part of my research, but I just want to build on that because Bill, you're such a magnetic person in our hospitality industry. And I think so much of what we do is informed by some of those earlier experiences, right? By being a bell person. Right. So what can you think of like one time, one example, one story of something that happened to you when you're a bell person that like you still hearken up, like you still think about, you still use in business, or you still share that story with your kid that you find like is an important hospitality or just business lesson?
I wouldn't point to one, but it was a recurring trend. Like if I came in and I was in a great mood and I was just having fun with people and, talking to them back and forth as we were riding, because the plaza's you had to get on a golf cart to go to the room. So you had the person with you that you were and talking, just asking open-ended questions like, where are you from? What are you doing? And get that conversation going. And at the same point in time, just be engaging. And I would talk about the destination. When I was doing that, I would walk out sometimes. I mean, it was good money for the early 80s and it wasn't taxed at that point either. So I'd walk out with $200 in my pocket. But if I came in and I was hungover and I didn't talk to anybody, then it was, I'd walk out, like I said, with $20. It taught me that you have to engage, life is all about relationships. And you've heard me say that 7 million times, but you engage with people. And I've tried to teach my kids, just talk to people. Like when you're traveling internationally, ask some open-ended probes of somebody you're sitting next to, on the train or at a bar or something. And you never know, number one, who you're talking to. And number two, you never know what you might learn.
Yeah. So. Grumpalumpuses, they never win, but the engaging people do. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. I want to tell a quick story because I have a follow-up question. So some people know and some people don't know. For the first part of my career, I was on the hotel side. HPN was one of my number one accounts. So when HPN would fax their RFPs in and everything, and I was like one of the early receivers of the faxes.
Back in the day.
And then one day I was working at Caesars Entertainment in Las Vegas, and I got a phone call from Bill. And he says, I heard you fell in love. And I was like, I did. And he's like, so is it time to come to HPN? And I was like, maybe, it might be. And he's like, the people at Caesars are not going to let you work remote. And I know that you're in Vegas and your boyfriend is in San Diego. And I was like, how do you know that, Bill? How do you know these things? Anyways, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, I think it probably was Amy that told me. Maybe not, or Dunkel, maybe. Somebody who knew you and knew what was going on. And, and I thought, well, let me lob in a call and see what's going on.
It was perfect timing. But I think like without that call, like there have been so many times over the years where Bill and I had talked about working for HPN and I never was quite ready.
Roger.
And is that the new pup?
That's the pup. He's over there.
It's all right. You'll probably hear Amani's pup too.
Yes. We love dogs. So, we understand this is real life.
That's
Sorry.
Right. No, that's okay. So anyways, I think over the years, like, there were times when you were like, when you're going to come to HPN, but It was like that time, that moment, that question that was so perfect. And I think that's something that is one of your superpowers, is your recruitment and your timing, just knowing what to say, when to call, and how to do it. So what is that something that you work on? Is that something that is natural for you? Do you incorporate your timing into business? Like how do you do that? How do you know when it is time for somebody to come to HPM?
Well, obviously timing's everything, right, in life.
Mhm.
You know, I talk to a lot of people. I try and identify people that I think would be great. You know, I view HPN as a family. Let's start with that. Like, it's a family. And so I view, I look for people that I think would fit with the family, right? And you can tell those people in 10 seconds when you're out in the world meeting them.
Mhm.
And, you know, and then I'll try and understand what their life story is. You know, people are, you know, there's, you know, some people are happy and they're doing everything and they want to stay where they're at, but then life throws something at them and then they're like, well, wait, this isn't working anymore. So I try and set up a scenario where, hey, when that thing happens to you, just here's my phone number, call me, and let's, you know, and we can figure something out.
Yeah.
So it's, I try and understand as much as possible about everybody's individual life situation, you know, when I'm talking to them. And again, the idea behind HPN is we don't want to be, you know, kudos to my competitors that are, you know, much larger than us. We punch way above our weight, you know, because our people book on average about 6 times what people at the other companies book. But the idea is a smaller company. So I never really want to have 500 people running around. You know, we're going to limit it to sort of 225 to 250. But the idea is to curate a great group of people, if you will, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I think with that too, you are one of the most accessible CEOs in the hospitality business, if not in multiple industries. Like I've always found you to be very accessible. It's not just to the associates, but the hotels, the suppliers, to the clients. Like, did you work for an inaccessible jerk at some point that you're like, I'm not gonna be that guy? Or is it like, what is this philosophy, this give them access philosophy that you have in business as a
Um,
leader?
I, I did work for a jerk once, and that's what led me to start my first company.
Mhm.
But no, I just had, man, I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
Like every day I get up and do what I do, and, you know, engaging with associates or engaging with clients or engaging with potential, you know, new associates. I'm just having so much fun. I can't see straight doing it. Like, people keep asking me, you know, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, what's different? What would be different than what I'm doing right now? If I want to get on a plane and go to Italy for a week, I get on a plane and go to Italy, right? But at the same point in time, you know, I've got my phone, and if I can talk to somebody and helpful, you know, hopefully, you know, help them change their life for the better. I mean, that's fun. I get off on doing that. I like to help people, you know, improve.
That's rewarding. I did get a lot of the questions in preparing for this interview. A lot of people sent me DMs asking when he's going to retire. I'm like, I'm not asking that. I already
No,
know the answer. We already know the answer.
but
Yeah.
honestly, what's the difference?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
You know, I get up every day and I have fun.
Mhm.
You know,
We like that. We got to give a shout out to Jennifer Jenkins, Julie Williams, Amy Walkowiak. Hope I said that right. Now, my question is based on your experience, particularly with HPN in like the last 24 years, what's been the most valuable 2 or 3 lessons you have learned as CEO?
listen, shut up and listen. Listen to what people are saying. Um, you know, and trust your people. You know, I've tried to our executive committee. I've tried to find the literally the best people in the industry, and, you know, find the best people. You know, help them be motivated properly, and get out of the way. Let them do their thing.
Okay, love that answer. Now we're getting ready to enter into 2026. How do you view the hospitality industry in terms of where we've come from and where we're headed to?
You know, so I was in the 90s. I was a hotel investment banker, so I always kind of run home to finance when I get a question like that. Um, you know, I think we're going to see rates leveling, and we already have. I think there's a disparity between what the people running hotels think they can produce and the people who own those hotels want those hotels to produce because they got used to, 22 to 23, 23 to 24, 24 to 25 ownership growth, like profits just went like that. And they want another one of those. But I think there's a disparity there that's kind of evolved. And that's why we're seeing a lot of, at HPN, we're seeing incentives from hotels all over the place. Like, this commission, that commission. It's an interesting time because you can't really talk about the future without trying to layer in what's AI going to do to it, right? What's AI going to do to the process of booking a group meeting in a hotel? I asked that question at a Marriott CEO roundtable a year and a half ago, and they're like, "We don't know. We're trying to figure it out, but we don't know. Like, we don't know if it's going to be AI that's responding to leads." But at the end of the day, I think one of the things I think COVID instilled in all of us is it took away travel. And I think that kind of fundamentally changed a lot of people's opinion of both individual travel and meetings to where it's now a priority because it got taken away. Now it's an important thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I think business is going to continue to climb, and they're building a lot of new hotels out there. So, and a lot of cool hotels.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting time for sure.
I agree.
I want to build on this because we got a question. So Michelle Devine from Visit Huntington Beach sent a question in, and it's kind of like what you're talking about. So her question is: as Gen Z and Gen Alpha grow as attendees at conferences, how do you see their expectations reshaping the future of meetings and events?
So, I think every generation says that. What are the young kids going to do? Like in the 50s, they said, "What are these crazy kids doing?" In the 70s, and so at the end of the day, I think people go to meetings to build relationships. I mean, life is all about relationships, and you're at a meeting to educate, to build connections, to to meet people. I think fundamentally technology is going to change, and AI is going to enhance and change things. But when you get it back to its core, people go to an event to build a relationship. So I'll use an anecdote that just happened last night to me. One of my sons, he's 26, he sells for Omni Mauna Lucia, and he's new in a sales capacity, 6 months. He just went to his first his trade show. And, I got a call from him last night, and he was so excited about meeting his 3 target people that he wanted to meet, 3 target customers, and having a great interaction with them. So, and so this is a kid, he's born in 99. So I guess he's just very, a little before Gen Z, but, raised on iPads and phones and everything, but he was still jazzed about going out and building that relationship with the people that he was supposed to go build a relationship with.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think technology is going to be different. AI is going to change things, but the basic function of being at a meeting, meeting people, building a relationship, it's you can't replace it with something that's not a person right there.
People are people, right? You still got to be good at engaging, just like the golf cart, just like your first bellperson job, like all those years ago. Yeah.
Let's take another question from the audience because I know you had a bunch. What's another one that you wanted to ask, Mandy, from our long list? And if you're watching, Lisa Ferrano, I think I said your last name right. Hello, welcome in. What do you think, Mandy?
Well, I have a couple funny ones. I'm gonna go to a couple funny ones.
Okay.
One person asked, "How many dependents do you have, humans and animals?"
I have 7 kids. Diane has 2. We now have 4 dogs. Dodger, come here. You gonna come over? He's laying over there. Come on, buddy. Come here. Good boy.
Join the party, Dodger.
Join the call, Dodger.
Oh, that's Dodger.
Dodger. Okay. He's so cute.
So, all right. There you go, buddy.
Okay, so 13. I think that's 13.
Yeah,
right?
13.
Okay,
13.
that's good. Okay, lucky 13. Okay, Another question. You're a dad and a CEO and you're a busy person. What do you do in your downtime? Like, what are your hobbies, if you have any? What makes you happy?
Well, Diane and I like to do a lot. We cook. I mean, we do a lot of cooking. We like to travel, obviously. but both we travel for business, or I travel for business, but also, kind of personal travel. Other than that, just relax, chill out, because things are going. I have called my life controlled chaos for a long time, because it's, the businesses over here and kids over here. I mean, one of the my intent bracelets that I wear says "Be present," because I want to, like, for my two youngest kids, who are now 15 and 17, but back when they were like 8 and 10, I just wanted a reminder to, when I'm with them, be with them. Don't be on the phone, or don't be doing this. So be present. So no, I mean, it's downtime, just chill, because there's not very much of it. Trust me.
No.
Yeah. Well, speaking of kids, I have a story. One of your kids sent me a story, so I'm going to share a story here. Yeah.
Well, tell me which kid, and then I'll know what story's coming out.
Taylor. It's from Taylor, from Tay. So Taylor's also in the hospitality industry. So Taylor said, after graduating college, I accepted a position at Omni Fort Worth to be on the meetings team. And when it came time to move, my dad drove me cross country to Texas. He volunteered to drive. My car was overstuffed. My car was tiny. And the only catch of our road trip was it was the day after the 2016 HPN meeting. So
Right.
needless to say, Dad was tired. I drove, but the car was still tiny. And that trip became one of my favorite professional and personal moments that I've ever had in my life with my dad. In those 16 hours, my dad shared advice, stories, and lessons that I still use to this day about the hotel world. He's always instilled that building relationships in business is important. And if you're going to work in hotels, especially in convention services, you've got to be best friends with the kitchen and accounting and never piss them off.
Amen.
So she said, at the time, I didn't really fully understand the importance of all of this. But right now, I totally get it. And what I always learned from my dad is to work hard, build deep relationships, have the courage and the motivation to keep going. And there's no way I could do that without him. So that's from Taylor.
Oh, that's sweet.
Which is super
Great
sweet.
story.
But I want to ask you, I want to soak that in for a minute for one of your 7 kids, 9 kids, 13, if the dogs could talk, one of them just to say these great things about you. So many people will say, don't involve the family in the business. Don't get the kids involved with the business. But your kids are so involved in the HPN business. How has incorporating the kids into the business enriched your life or enriched the business's life?
Yeah. Well, so I think the only one that's really worked at the company was Sydney, and that was sort of a product of COVID. I'm honestly, I'm a believer of them needing to go out in the world and knock their head against the wall and not just come to work at the family company, if you will.
Yeah.
I try and lead by example with them. And it just, at the same point in time, give them as much guidance as possible, and say, this sounds right or this doesn't. But it kind of warms my heart that, my kids, my 20 something kids, they literally call me like daily, just to shoot the shit, so to speak. Oops, I did swear, didn't I?
It's okay. Keep going.
Amani isn't blushing yet. He's fine.
Yeah.
Amani, you survived.
And,
Fine.
And then going on trips with my kids. Like I'm actually the first week of January, for the first time ever, I'm getting all 5 of my boys out on a fishing trip. So we're going down. Yeah, we're flying down to Guatemala and going billfish fishing, just me and the 5 boys. So that's time that I'm really, really, really looking forward to.
Yeah, I think what you do really well, Bill, is you set that example of spending time with your family. I know I want to talk about the HPN core values. Is HPN has these core values. Bill sends out this awesome letter every year at the beginning of the year. Is it the end? It's the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year.
January 2nd. Yep.
About the core values, and family first is the number one. So I'm gonna list off the rest of them, and then I'm gonna ask about the origin story of how that came to be. So
Okay, cool.
Core values are build relationships, family first, have fun, be nice to people, be passionate, enthusiastic, change is our friend, Do what you say you're going to do. Let go of negativity. Take care of your friends and be a kid as much as possible. Love that. Be grateful, be kind, and compassionate. So, how did these core values come to be? And which is the one that you like the most, or which is the one you live by them? I know family first. We'll put that.
Yeah. So I had two mentors in life. One was John Dawson and one was Peter Thomas. John Dawson was the guy who owned the Scottsdale Plaza. Peter Thomas is who was, spoke at our stage. Both very different guys. Both very successful in life. And John taught me a lot about the hard-nosed side of business. Work for Peter was like night and day because he was more, motivational and positive and like changes our friend comes from Peter. Like I learned that directly from him. Like, stuff's going to change. Like, and if you can, if assimilate the change or anticipate it or even lead it, then, you're going to do well in life. So when I started my first company, it was because of my kids at the time. I was doing investment banking, and I remember it was Christmas Eve, and it was like 8 p.m. and I'm sitting here arguing with some attorney over some language in a, loan document that's got to be signed by, December 31st. And I'm like, what am I doing? And at that point in time, I think I had 3 kids. I think Sid was probably 2 or 3 years old at that point. So it was like, I'm just missing out on, missing my time with my family. And I figured out a way to, get my hands on some hotels and start my own little hotel company. And so I just started operating the way that I thought I should operate. And when I started HPN, I tried to instill those values. And I think I did the first one of these, Mandy, I want to say 2011-ish.
I was going to say it was a year after. Yeah, 2011, because I came in 2010. Yeah, because it wasn't always, they didn't always come out. Yeah, so 2011.
Yeah, so I think that's for sure I did it. And and I've added them through the years, like let go of negativity, like that. I don't think I added that until about 3 or 4 years later, and something happened, and I'm like, yeah, just let it go, man, and move on. And then I said, you know what, that should go in the values. Like, stuff's going to go wrong, and somebody's going to piss you off, but I think if you just carry negativity with you, you're actually damaging yourself, not the person who made you mad, right?
Yeah.
And so it's. They have evolved, but I think that this is a kind of a codification, if you will, of how I've tried to operate my life and my businesses, and just comport myself in the world. Like, just be cool. Like everything, just be cool, and everything's easy. That's my other bracelet is be cool. Right.
Yeah.
We got some questions from the audience here. So Betsy Baker. Also, what's up, Brian? Brian, how you pronounce his last name? Aron, I think is how to say his last name.
So I have guys. I think none of HPN is working right now because every name I have heard,
I'm sorry.
Somebody who should be closing a deal for 12.
We're sure they're multitasking.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
The question for Betsy is, how has HPN's client mix evolved over the past year? And what types of meetings or destinations are seeing the strongest demand right now?
So we, the client mix kind of comes with the associates because they're all independent contractors. They can work on what they want. We've got some associates to do pure association. We've got some associates who do high-end incentive and, and investment banking meetings, things of that nature. We are doing more, not just over the last year, but over the last, 3 to 5 years, more kind of larger, what you would call citywide things. Yeah. But our wheelhouse still is, we're dealing with accounts that aren't like Marriott has accounts targeted, in their system, Pfizer, Ford, whatever it is. The accounts that we deal with are sort of in the middle where they're not really targeted towards those or deployed against those. So it's very valuable business for the hotels because it's not stuff they would see otherwise. They don't have a salesperson deployed against that. As far as, demand going, the demand for individual places, over the last couple of years, we have seen a rise in secondary and tertiary markets because, everything was taken. In Orlando, like space is all gone because so much stuff got lifted and shifted from 20 and 21 into 22, 23, 24 that now it's, we had to broaden our search. So, and again, that also was driven by the rate growth in the high demand markets. So somebody might look at Miami and go, yeah, we're not going to Miami. We're going to go to, Charlotte or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So,
okay. Now, I'm also curious, out of all the sales professionals you've worked with, what are the most common characteristics to the most successful of them?
Persistence.
Tell us more about that. I love that word.
Well, it's getting up every day and doing it. It's, you're going to get people that, a lot of no's. Like there's some book out there, you have to get 50 no's before you get a yes, or, kind of gimmicky stuff. But I'll throw John Maria out there, as the perfect example. He gets up every day, and the guy's booked hundreds of millions of dollars, and he still prospects. He's religiously persistent, and he gets up and swings the axe and swings the axe and swings the axe, and he's had immense success because of it. And I think also the best sales skill I know of is listening. That's what I tell my kids in sales capacities is, if you, again, Jackson was doing some of his first site visits earlier this year. And I said, don't talk about your ballroom. Ask an open-ended probe, tell me about your meeting needs. Tell me about what went wrong at your last meeting. What went right, and start, let the client talk, and then figure out how you can solve their, whatever their needs are. So not problems, but, craft what you're doing to satisfy what they're trying to buy. Listen.
Yeah. Great. People agree with you in the chat there. Jeremy Shaw Wright, thank you. And Lisa Ferrano says the same thing. What you got
more
next?
HPN people, not working.
Nobody's working.
Sorry, nobody's working. Okay, here's a question somebody sent to me in advance. What's the most difficult deal you ever had to negotiate or mitigate since starting HPN? You don't have to say the company or the person, but can you think of the deal?
I know exactly what the deal is.
Okay.
It was a consumer goods company at Caesars, and the brand has a fairly family-oriented branding, and they decided to cancel it was $487,000 meeting. Remember, it's back when Jordan was at Caesars, because Jordan and I worked this out.
Mm-hmm.
And they were canceling because some of the executives had seen working women at the bar in Caesars. And
like you see everywhere in Vegas.
Yeah. And that was their reason for canceling. And I was like, wait, what? Like hookers in Vegas? Come on. And they were dead set serious. That was somehow force majeure or something. And I'm like, yeah, no. And I called Jordan. He just, it wasn't the most difficult. It was the kind of most insane.
Absurd.
Because he just starts laughing. He goes, yeah, we're not waving a nickel over that.
Yeah.
And the company was adamant that they should get out of it. And I'm talking to the general counsel for this, Fortune 500 company. And he goes, I think it's force majeure. I'm like, bro, you are insane. There's not a chance this is force majeure. Yeah. And Caesars has good attorneys, and they're going to come get their $487,000. So I think I asked Jordan for a favor, and he dropped it to 3 something.
Yeah.
But they canceled the meeting over it. I'm like,
wow. I mean, Amani, you live in Vegas. Like that's just a part of Vegas life.
That's what I've heard. I know, right? No, that's what I've heard.
It's a part of Vegas life. Well, I want to build on that, Bill, because I know we've been talking a lot about like leadership and internal stuff, but I want to flip it to external. When you're interacting with customers, I remember one time you said to me, I was talking about firing a customer, and you said to me, if it doesn't feel right, Mandy, it's probably not right. And that was all I needed to know what I already knew, like in my guts. Like I knew I needed to fire this client. So what do you want to say to clients that are out there that, if you could say anything to them, like why should they work with HPN? What should they know about HPN? And if they're not on the right course, like how do you write them on the right course?
Well, I think we streamline things. We take a lot of the brain damage out of the equation for a client and allow them to focus on, the important things like messaging and, and actually what the purpose of the meeting, and not, the sort of the grunt work of going and finding the right solution. And because we're so experienced with so many assets and so many markets, and plus our procurement platform is so efficient. If there's a client out there handling 3 or 5 meetings a year, they're never going to get close to the deal we get because we're sending 30,000 RFPs a year, right? And we've got somebody who's been like you, who's been negotiating thousands and thousands and thousands of hotel contracts. Sort of where I thought you were going with your question is, what do you tell clients who are difficult clients?
Answer that one. Yeah. Let's hear that.
I kind of get back to, I have fired 8 or 9 clients at HPN, and I've just called them and said, our time, you're abusing our people, number one, because we have had people that are just, and Stacy will attest to this. We had a client last year who was just flat out abusing the operations people, berating them, and, just being not a nice person. And so finally we were like, life's too short. Like we're in a position with this organization where, we're doing great. We always love more business. We love great clients, but life is too short to be around toxic people.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I think that's let go of negativity. Like if there's somebody toxic, you just have to say, no, not doing it. So just, again, my advice is just be cool. If everybody's cool, everything's easy.
Yeah. But I think I appreciated that advice when it can be so simple. I think so many times we all make it so much more complicated than it is. But like, if somebody's a jerk, you don't have to work with them. If somebody's awesome, you want to work with more of them. It's so simple. But you gave me that gift of like, if it doesn't feel right, it's not. Just fire them. Yeah. It's okay. And I think that's simplifying it is important.
Yeah.
We've come to the point in the show where we flip the script. So we let you ask both myself and Mandy any question you like. Nothing is off limits. So what is the question, and who do you want to ask the specific question to first?
I think I'll do you, Alani.
Okay.
So I'm intrigued by you being a DJ. Like, how did you decide to do that? And like, what was the coolest gig that you ever got to do?
Okay. So growing up, I loved DJ Bismarcky. So Bismarcky, who says the song "Just a Friend," and I saw him when I was at college at Howard University, and he set the crowd off that night. It was a Quigley's in downtown DC. It was amazing, and I said, I want to do what he does. But at the time, I didn't think it was a legitimate career. So I was working for Marriott. So I continued working for Marriott for almost 20 years, and then I got to LA, and I said, I want to learn how to DJ. So then I learned how to DJ, self-taught first. Then I went to Scratch Academy. And then I went there twice, once for DJing, once for music production. And then from there, through my work with MPI and my connections, my career just continued to grow and grow. Now I've been able to DJ all over the world. My coolest gig, I would say 2 come to mind. Once I was in the World Cup in 2014 in Brazil, Cuiabá, Brazil, and DJ'd event there. That's like fun. top line there. Another one is I opened up for K. Michelle. She was performing at the Nokia Center in downtown LA. Those are 2. Now there's one, I was at this bar club in the Brig in Venice Beach. It was the day after Thanksgiving, and the crowd was it was really packed and it was intense. And I remember I dropped, because I love Mariah Carey. So I dropped Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas, and the entire place was singing along. About 200 people singing along. I got goosebumps, and then I kept going. So those are 3 kind of performances, different levels that come to mind that I love.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
What's the question for Mandy? Mandy, you're next.
So what's the coolest thing you've learned from HPN?
Oh, wow. I've learned so many things. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is just be yourself. Just be yourself. It's way more magnetic to be yourself. And when I came over to HPN, I was on the hotel side for so long that I had this veil as a lot of hotel people do, of like work Mandy and cool Mandy and professional. I had all the Mandys. But I think the thing that happened as soon as I came to HPN is I just like ripped the veil off. I threw it in the garbage, and I was just all the Mandys.
You're just Mandy, yeah, right.
I was just Mandy. But it, like you said, it's a family, and I did feel, and I've always felt accepted as a family. But that emboldened me to be that person with clients and be that person with hotel people. And I think it's made me a lot better. But I think just be your most authentic self. That's one of the coolest things I've learned from HPN. I've learned a lot, but I think that's the most important.
Yes, you have. Yes. Shout out to Stacy Crivello, who's in the chat there. Hello, Stacy. Good to see you. Now, Bill, if we go back to when you were about to start your first day at the Scottsdale Plaza Resort Hotel, and you were going to give that Bill advice based on everything you've learned in your career so far, what advice would you give your younger self?
Trust yourself, trust your instincts, go with your gut. Cause it's whenever I'm making a decision, 98% of the time, just my first inkling ends up being the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What is something that you're looking to learn in 2026?
That's a good question. I want to learn more about AI because I think it's going to be a fundamentally life-altering thing for all of us, and there's people who are not sure it's going to be altering in a good way, right?
Right.
And I want to learn Italian.
Oh, yes. Here we go.
Foreign languages, yes. Why Italian?
Because we just love spending time in Italy, and I figured it'd be easier if I could get along a little better.
Yeah, I agree. Spanish is on my list. I've been practicing heavily.
Have you? Yeah, my Duolingo's mad at me. Like I'm like, it keeps giving me nasty messages.
Yes.
How many days delinquent are you on your Duolingo?
Yeah, a little too much.
Only so long for the freeze. What other questions do we have from the audience, Mandy? Have we got in advance?
I have a question about mentorship. I want to just go back to, you said, I don't remember his first name. Dawson is his last name. And you said Peter too.
Yeah. John Dawson, Peter Thomas.
John Dawson. Okay. So you've been blessed with some great mentors, and you've been a great mentor to me. Scooter says you're his mentor. You've been a great mentor to so many people.
to Scoot.
To all of us. So many years. For people out there that say, I'm too busy to mentor, or I'm too busy to help, or I'm too busy to lift people up, what do you say to that, knowing that you've been so positively impacted by mentorship, and then you've been a great mentor?
Yeah, I love giving back to people. I actually founded a company in 2007 that didn't. We did a couple of deals, but didn't go far. That was supposed to be we called it Lucky Napkin, like we write a business idea in the back of a napkin, and the idea was to bring mentorship and capital to people who had great ideas, like younger people, and I think mentorship I learned most. Really, a lot of it from Peter Thomas, and that's all he does these days is give back, and I think he finds it really, really rewarding. I find it rewarding as well. It's if somebody calls you and you can give them some, advice is the wrong word, but some counseling, and here's what I would do, or whatever, and it helps that person. It feels good, it feels good to help people. And what warms my heart the most about HPN is when I look around the company and I see how people's lives have fundamentally changed for the better. I'll give a shout out to like Jeremy. It's the life that he and Chris have. Not trapped in a hotel. I mean, they've got a couple of houses. They've got the motorhome. They spent 2 months on the road over the summer, just having fun, but also working and doing their thing. So, that's what really warms my heart about the company, is looking around and saying, okay, everybody's having a great time. They're making a ton of money, but also their lives are so much better than getting up and putting on heels and going to some stupid hotel somewhere and getting yelled at by the GM or by the revenue manager or whatever.
Yeah,
So
and wearing the veil. I agree. I
yeah,
agree.
right.
I do have a question from somebody submitted this one, this is an anonymous one. If you had to pick just one, which city in the world would you say is your favorite? They said, how about one United States city and one international city? I
It's
mean, we know
such a
Italy, somewhere in
yeah,
international.
yeah. Um, how do you pick a city? Like,
I don't know. I
is
couldn't.
London better than Rome?
Mhm.
They're different, right? Like having said that, we're probably gonna go spend some significant time this summer in Rome and use it as a base.
Mhm.
Maybe the older kids can fly over. So if I had to pick a city, probably Rome would be it.
Mhm.
um, Domestically, again, how do you pick, right? San Francisco's cool, New York's cool. They're just different cools.
Mhm.
We're going to New York next week, so New York at Christmas time is a kick.
Mhm.
It's just a special thing. So I guess it would have to be that. But
What
but
city?
Miami's cool too. Like, I don't know. It's hard.
I love Miami. What
Yeah.
what city have you traveled to that surprised you? That you were like, I didn't expect to like this, but I did.
Um, Copenhagen.
Oh,
Ooh, I've never been to
okay.
Copenhagen. What was surprising about it?
It was just so I was on a trip with my 20-something boys, two of them. We hit Dublin. So the deal was we're going to go to three cities, and I'm going to pick one, and they each got to pick the other two, right? And so I picked Dublin. I'm like, because I love Dublin. Like I
Mhm.
guess Dublin would be equal to Rome as favorite international cities.
Mhm.
And I said, you boys pick. And so they came up with Copenhagen and Amsterdam. So I go,
Mhm.
okay, so functionally we've got beer, blondes, and weed. That's what we're doing for the next 2 weeks. But Copenhagen was a cool city. I mean, very, kind of cosmopolitan. People were nice, um, clean. Just I was kind of like, yeah, and food was fantastic.
Yeah.
Lisbon's another just kick-ass city.
Yeah, this one's cool.
The food there is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
So I work with a lot and teach a lot of like young adults, students that are getting ready to graduate, similar to your kids. And a lot of them they have a little sense of trepidation about entering into the hospitality industry. What
mhm.
specific advice or wisdom would you give students that are about to graduate from college that are considering working in hospitality industry specific hotels?
It's the hospitality business, so typically you're surrounded by people who are enjoying themselves, having a good time. Um, the only drawback with hospitality is you're not going to make the most money on the planet. You know,
Yeah.
um, there's other avenues in today's economy that obviously compensate recent graduates a lot faster, but you have to have more specific training. It's just hospitality is just a great business. It's hospitality. And a lot of people end up in a lot of cool places that they never would have gone to,
Mhm.
like by working for a company and going, they're like, oh yeah, we'd like you to go handle this engagement at this property.
Yeah.
So, I would encourage the advice I would give to anybody graduating is go see the world,
Mm.
because you learn a lot about the world and yourself through travel.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do. Yeah. We have another question from Carola. Carol, I hope I said that right. You gotta let me know. So all three of us. So Mandy, she wants us to answer to the question too. Tell us one thing that you would like everyone to know about you that no one knows.
Oh, Bill, you're
Ooh,
first.
oof, I don't know. Well, you got to go first, Manny.
You know, the first thing that came to mind, I don't know why, this is, I'll totally tell on myself. I failed 11th grade English. I'm an author who failed English class. And I don't know if anybody knows that.
Wow.
Didn't
Yeah.
know that. Yeah.
And I failed it because I did not like the teacher and I was just a mouthy, irreverent high school kid. And it wasn't because I didn't do my homework. It was because I was disruptive in class and he kicked me out every day.
Mm,
Yeah.
that makes sense then. Yeah.
Attracts for you, money.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up to Ryan in the chat there? I'd say for me, I've been on stage at American Idol. That's one cool thing.
Ooh.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
For me, I played clarinet in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
What?
Okay.
What was your song?
I made it to the 2nd chair playing Good King Wenceslas. But I never wanted to play the clarinet. But we went to the band thing, and I said cornet, which because the dudes played cornets, the trumpet, and all the chicks played clarinet. And my mom didn't hear me right and went out and bought a clarinet. So I was stuck with the clarinet.
Oh no!
So it's me and like 7 girls on the clarinet, and all the cool dudes are over there with the trumpets.
That's a great story. I have one more. I have 2 final questions, and then I know Monty will wrap it up. Bill, you once told me there's a right way to tell a story, and I can't remember the framework, but it was a 3-piece framework, and I don't know if you remember it, but what is it? If you remember it,
set the stage, build the excitement, close the deal.
Yes, there we go. I love that.
Question.
I love that. You've spent so much time with us today. It's a lot. And you have spent your entire career lifting people up and helping people have better lives. How can we support you personally? How can we lift you up as we close out the show?
Just go out there and do good things for people. Give back.
Okay.
Be as Diane says, be a fountain, not a drain.
Oh, that's good.
That's good. Gotta
really
clip
good.
that. We're gonna clip that. That's really good.
We're gonna put
Be a
that.
fountain,
Thanks,
not a
Diane.
drain.
Thanks, Diane.
Yes. Well, we appreciate the time you took, the wisdom you shared with us, all the information, and we're just very grateful for what you've given to us today, as well as within the whole entire hospitality industry. So it's just been a pleasure to sit down and talk with you and have a nice, like a family discussion.
Yeah.
So,
well, thanks, guys. I really enjoyed it. It's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks
So
for being here, Bill.
Thanks for being. We're gonna put you in the green room really quickly, and we'll close out the show. So another round of applause in the chat. You could put like ones in the chat or a clap, and just round of applause for Bill Kilburg right there.
Yay, Bill. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Mandy, amazing show today.
Yeah.
Who do we have to look forward to next week?
We have Chris Riccardi from Peregrine Hospitality, second time guest. He wants to. They've changed their name since he was on with KSL last time. So
all right,
yeah,
cool. So we'll welcome Chris. Thanks again to Bill for joining us today. Make sure if you're watching this for the first time, subscribe on YouTube, leave us a rating or review, share it with a friend. And with that, we appreciate everyone who tuned in live and who's watching the replay. Thanks again, and we will see everyone next week. 4 p.m. on the East, 1 p.m. on the West. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.